We will now do a brief meditation. My point today about humanism is that humanists do meditate, but their meditations tend to rely on evidence. Their goals are to make the world a better place for all humanity and to live a fulfilled life. So please make yourself comfortable. Breathe in the awe and wonder of this empirical reality. Breathe out all the tension. Reflect on your agency and your inner compass. Recognize your shared humanity and deep interconnectedness. Commit to ethical living, guided by reason and compassion. Remember, this is our one precious life to make a positive contribution. Please reflect on these words. As we come back into the room, we will have reading number 1, which is a Humanist Manifesto 3, read by David Massard.
Good morning. I'm David Massard. Barbara's asked me to read you the Humanist Manifesto. It's the third version that is comes from the American Humanist Society. So you should understand this is not really a universal creed. This is from one organization, but it encapsulates and describes briefly what they feel and what they believe. The first Humanist Manifesto was adopted in 1933. I didn't know the organization dates all that far back. It arose from religious humanism and was quite optimistic about humans and their abilities. In 1973, the manifesto was updated and replaced. Manifesto 2 began as a statement about the excesses of Nazism, fascism, and World War II. It's frequently quoted as saying, "No deity will save us, we must save ourselves." Humanism and its aspirations often referred to as the Humanist Manifesto 3 was published in 2003. It is the most secular of the three versions and it has 6 primary themes, which are: knowledge of the world is derived by observation, experimentation, and rational analysis. We don't believe in magic. Humans are an integral part of nature, the result of unguided evolutionary change. Ethical values are derived from human need and the interests as tested by experience. Life's fulfillment emerges from individual participation in the service of humane ideals. Humans are social by nature, and we find meaning in our relationships. Finally, humanists work to benefit society. We believe that maximizes individual happiness. Thank you.
Last summer, the Pew researchers presented many studies about what is happening in the U.S. religious landscape. After years and years of decline, the Christian share of the population has been relatively stable since 2019. Also, the religiously unaffiliated population, after decades of increase, has now leveled off. Currently, 62% of the U.S. population describes itself as Christian. 29% are religiously unaffiliated. 7% belong to religions other than Christianity. And as far as beliefs are concerned, 86% believe that there is a soul or spirit in addition to a physical body. 83% believe in a God or universal spirit. 79% believe there is something spiritual beyond the natural world. And 70% believe in heaven, hell, or both. Young adults are far less religious than older adults. Women are more religious than men. No recent birth cohort has become more religious as they age. 35% have switched religions since childhood, resulting in net gains for the unaffiliated and net losses for Christianity. Non-denominational Protestantism is the fastest growing branch of Christianity. Unitarian Universalists are clearly a minority and not even mentioned in these reports. Humanists make up even a smaller group. Now, I want to talk a little bit about my personal beliefs, and I'm making a confession. I believe in reason and the scientific method as a means for understanding our world. I do not believe in higher authorities, supernatural beings that are creators of our world, that can determine behaviors or events, or reward or punish me for my behaviors. I do not believe in spirits, the soul, magic, superstitions, faith healing, etc. I do not believe in an afterlife. As I tell my son every time we meet, I believe a person lives in the hearts and minds of the living so long as others remember or think about those individuals. I would personally love to think that I might be reunited with my husband in an afterlife, but I can't. All I can do is remember the good times and the not so good times that we've had together. I do believe that humans are social beings, and as infants, they are predetermined or pre-programmed to show empathy and compassion. At least that's what my observations were when I studied early childhood education in the late 60s. Thus, I do not need to have a set of moral values prescribed for me by a higher authority. I'm often asked, if I don't believe in God, how can I live a moral life? I believe that the origins of our moral capacities lie inside human beings and our evolution as social animals. When we decide how to act, we should use reason, empathy, considering the consequences of our actions and the likely impact on other people and animals. I do not believe in sin. The focus of the scientific method, the rational thought process and focus on facts, not appeals to me. The more I study it, the more I appreciate it. As a Unitarian Universalist for the last 55 years, I have been able to come to grips with my departure from my Protestant Christian upbringing. I find that religions such as Christianity have been comforting to many people during times of grief, trauma, or unfortunate experiences. But unfortunately, Christianity has much hypocrisy in its history and in the current times. It has served to sanction wars, slavery, anti-gay and trans beliefs, while preaching love all the time. Thus, I am an atheist, and it's only been in the last few years that I'm able to say that publicly. A few years ago, I started reading about humanism, and I'm now able to say that I consider myself a secular humanist. Politically, I believe in the separation of church and state, the rights and responsibilities of individuals, the failings of humanity, the need for science to prove answers to human questions. Our Unitarian Universalist congregation in South Bend provides me with the cover so that my Holy Cross Village neighbors think I am a churchgoer. It provides me with a community of curious, thoughtful people, and it encourages me to be the best I can be, as well as to be socially and politically active in my community and in the nation. After the service today, during the coffee part of our events, if you would like to know more about humanism and our local humanist forum group, a few of us may be available in the conference room during the coffee hour. So ends my message for this morning. Now, Diana Mendelsohn will read us some information about Unitarianism, Universalism, and Humanism.
In the 60s, I was raised as a Protestant, but my grandmother, Yvonne Mendelsohn, who lived in West Lafayette, introduced me to Unitarian Universalism, and she would catch me giving food to chipmunks and doing all the nature stuff, and she did talk about humanism. And then about 20 years ago, I met Rita, and she really introduced me to humanism in a completely different way. So Unitarian Universalists and Humanism. The mission of the Humanist Unitarian Universalist Association is committed to the humanist principles of reason, compassion, and human fulfillment. It seeks to promote a broad acceptance of humanism in American society, particularly throughout the Unitarian Universalist Association and its member congregations, to provide an active interface between the Unitarian Universalists and the secular community. Core values and aspirations include naturalism, facts, not faith, free and responsible thought, living with the joy of lived experiences tempered with reason, knowing that we humans are hardwired for empathy and compassion. Current issues in focus: the separation of church and state, becoming a primary interface on bridging between secular and non-theist. Individuals in Unitarian Universalists, climate changes and human activity. That's one of my strongest connections, is that my grandmother really questioned why did I decide not to attend veterinary school and why I became a full-time activist. That was a tough one. My grandmother was a teacher, and so she understood